It's later than I wanted it to be. Bum, 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 bum.
It happens.
Children of the effing corn. Children of the corn.
Children of the corn.
Welcome to the live stream. Welcome.
Welcome to the taco.
I'm going to dive right in.
Yep.
I'm ready to dive in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Today on the Back Row Fantasy Show, we talk fantasy MVPs and LVPs. I will explain in a moment on the Back Row Fantasy Show.
Welcome to the Back Row Fantasy Show with your hosts, Jeremy Barker, Aaron Arms, and Brian Hucks.
It is good to be back in the studio.
I really thought you were going to go into like the old Slim Shady thing.
Negative.
It feels so good to be back.
No.
Okay.
No. So good to be back. So
Thank God.
Thanks for joining us yet again. Thanks for sticking with us through the Barkless episode last week. Good episode, fellas.
Thanks.
Fine.
We know.
A fine. Okay. Okay.
I'm just
We did a little bit different format
Yep.
with the showdowns, and it was fun.
We enjoyed it.
Hey, I listened. I enjoyed. It's fun to be a listener sometimes. So, yeah. Thanks again. I was puking my guts up. And
Yeah, you look
I
like shit.
didn't know it was
among other
that bad
things.
of an episode, but whatever.
Well, you know. So anyways, thanks for joining us today. We are going to talk fantasy MVPs and fantasy LVPs, fantasy least valuable players. And, of course, you guys have some DraftKings paraphernalia ready for us, some DKP. And we're going to talk about some of that as well. But congratulations to all the championship teams out there, me, myself, Arms, and
Won the brew.
Arms and me.
Yeah, just you two.
It happens.
I was a runner-up.
I didn't win. I don't believe I won anything last year, and it happens. So, yeah, I'm glad to be a 3-time champ this time. Bauer did a little Dynasty Rewind episode. Thanks, Bauer, for shouting me out in that one. Bauer also got the pants beat off of him by Arms.
The brakes beat clear off of him. Hey, by the way, Dan, 30-point loss is not close.
No.
Yeah, that's not close. at all.
No.
He kept saying, I know you mute the group chat whenever you're working stuff, but he kept saying I was this close. And then I'd screenshot and send him the score, circle it. I'm like, how close? He's like, this. I'm like, that's 30 points.
Yeah.
But, you
Yeah,
know.
Not close.
The words this close, that means 5 to 10 points. 30 is a beating. 30 is a shellacking.
But you know what? Honestly, Dan had the best team all year. Like, it wasn't close. His team was better than mine all year. A lot of it had to do with underperforming, Adam Thielen, etc. But, yeah, I won when it mattered.
Yep.
Absolutely. But don't discredit yourself. I mean, there was no better team over the second half of the season than you.
I finished, I think, top 3 in scoring like 5 of the last 6 weeks or something. I just went on a tear. Michael Thomas helped a lot in that.
Michael Thomas, one of the guys on my list for fantasy MVP.
He's
Yeah,
there.
I think it's pretty. Some of the guys are pretty just obvious. Just
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
but
But as far
it
as
still warrants talking to, right?
oh yeah, definitely.
Because
Yeah. How many championship teams did Michael Thomas reside on? That's what I want to know.
I'm going to guess a lot.
Probably quite a bit.
So if you're listening, follow us on Twitter at The Back Row Show and let us know, did you win a title and was Michael Thomas on your team? Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin, in my opinion, is an MVP because he was a popular pick.
Chris Godwin's actually my wide receiver MVP.
I still go Michael Thomas just because of the pure consistency, no single-digit games.
I understand that
at all.
but think of the price.
I get
you
that.
probably paid a first for Michael Thomas. where did you get Chris Godwin? Like the 7th?
But was Thomas,
You know what I mean?
Was Thomas drafted after Juju, after Hop, after, there's only
Still
few.
a first, though. You know what I mean? Still, worst
Right.
case scenario, you're paying a second, whereas most likely Godwin was at least a couple rounds back.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and I agree on the same thing. Like, Michael Thomas is absolute superstar.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And among other guys that, nearly, not completely, Cooper Kupp, even though he faded down the stretch, he only had 2 games of single digits in our league of record. It's just he didn't give us those 20-point games on the second half of the season. So he kind of hurt a little bit, but he didn't kill you. He just hurt a little bit. So Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, those are names that come to mind at the wide receiver position as fantasy MVPs for me. Do you guys have any other fantasy DJ Moore could kind of creep into the conversation considering what you paid for him?
I think it was. I disagree on DJ Moore because it all came late.
Yeah.
Like second half MVP probably, but like his first half was pretty bland.
2 single-digit games out of him as well.
I know, but he wasn't. His second half was ridiculous.
14, 18, 14, 15, 15. I mean, he did okay in the first half.
Yeah, but the second half you got to like 17, 21, 19, 31, 19, 12, 21.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And then he gets 1.1 when he gets hurt, which with that being said, could have cost you a title. That's week 16. That's your title game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he was in my lineup last week.
You got to take that in
and
consideration.
He gets. He gets hurt early. So
Right. If not for that.
I'd have been a lot closer. I probably would have won still.
Right.
Because my matchup was not close, and I lost by 28.
Other guys that are at least worth mentioning that you probably got in the middle rounds, if not late, John Brown, DJ Chark, both top 20 wide receivers.
I have Julian Edelman down. He finished as wide receiver 5 in our league of record, and he was drafted wide receiver 28.
Two single-digit outputs.
Yeah, but
for
I
him
mean,
as
just
well.
overall,
nothing
yeah.
to complain about
Yeah.
with 2 single-digit
97
outputs.
catches, over 1,000 yards. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty solid. Quiet. I think it's a pretty quiet season, really.
But they
Edelman's
all
always,
are.
Oh, yeah.
Edelman's always quiet.
Like he's the quietest 110 for 1,000-yard guy ever. 110 catches for 1,000 yards. He does something, or it feels like he does that every year.
Now, since we're talking receivers, can we talk LVP, Adam Thielen?
Okay, or
Odell Beckham.
Antonio Brown.
There's more. I didn't say we were done.
No, I mean, no,
I was
I
going to
get
say
it.
you cannot tell me you can't include Antonio Brown
You can.
Yeah,
because you
absolutely.
paid for him.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't, but yeah, you did.
Couldn't
Most
be
people
more
did.
worthless.
I agree with Beckham 100%. Adam Thielen wasn't even in the top 32. I know injury had something
Yeah,
to do with
but
that.
was it through the
That's
first
what-
half? He was fine.
When I
actually.
was going through looking to pick who I was looking at the guys that played majority of the season to write down, and Odell played the whole year, wide receiver 28.
yeah,
So I mean,
It was
pretty
bad.
disappointing. I mean, not even number 1 on his team. Landry, I think he was wide receiver 14 or 15. So
how about Juju?
yeah,
Ju-
and
I mean,
injury. I mean, how many
Juju's
games did
wide
he miss?
receiver
But
58
even the games he played, it
4.
was bad. So
Juju very much worth mentioning. How about this? How about your fantasy MVP at wide receiver in the playoffs? Who would you call that? Because I've got him right in front of me. Playoff fantasy MVP. If you were smart enough to play,
Man, I feel like it's either got to be DJ Moore or Michael Thomas, but both of them
Devontae Parker, I don't know.
probably is Devontae Parker.
Parker could be in there. Let's see. So,
I was going to say Michael Thomas just because of the weeks he had. Just
So,
last
I
couple
mean,
weeks.
Michael Thomas literally the last 3 weeks 30, 30, and 31.
so playoffs typically start week 13, right?
So week
14.
14. So it's got to be Michael Thomas.
Okay, so yeah, Michael Thomas definitely the
one.
one.
But
He's
yeah.
the one. But Parker, the 2 over a 4-game span. I'll go ahead and
Brashad
go from
Perryman.
14. AJ Brown.
AJ
Brown's in
yeah.
there.
AJ Brown, massive, and Brashard Perryman. Yeah, Deontay Johnson played really well in the fantasy playoffs. Terry McLaurin did fine. There's definitely names, but as far as the bust category, the least valuable, Thielen kind of tops the list for me. I'm really glad I traded that guy before the season. He's still a good wide receiver. Just the beginning of the season, the passing game wasn't working. Then he gets hurt. kind of a catch-22
Yeah.
for Mr. Thielen.
Well, the thing about Thielen, and I'm defending him and simultaneously incredibly disappointed. Through the first half of the season, he was pretty decent. Like, even whenever that team did nothing, he had production. It may have been literally, I think he had a game that was like one catch for 38 yards and a touchdown. But, I mean, let's see. It was like 13 points, 12 points, 20 points, then 2, then 33, then 17. Then he had one catch for 25 yards and a touchdown is what it was. And then out, basically trying to fight off an injury, out until week 15. Yeah. So, I mean, injury plays a big part in it. But, I mean, with that being said, he had 3 games of 8 targets and none above 7 after that. So
Yeah, I mean, it was basically 5 out of the first 6 games. Thielen was fine. Then you got injury, and the last 4 games that he did play, didn't do a lot. Didn't do a lot for you. Brandon Cooks, think I should mention him as well. He very, very inconsistent. So he was a fantasy LVP in my book.
Now, let me ask you, since we're talking about the LVPs, are you buying Juju? Are you buying Thielen next year? Are those guys you're looking to acquire?
Juju for sure.
Juju, yeah. I'm not buying
Definitely.
Thielen. I'll buy Juju.
See, I think I want Thielen back. The biggest issue I have,
It depends on the price, as usual. But see, the Juju price, I think I'm going to be comfortable paying no matter what because it's an upside pick. The Thielen price has to be low for me to go grab him.
Yeah.
It has to be late.
but I feel like
second
both of them
rounder,
got to be low.
late
like-
second, early third for Thielen.
I guess what I'm saying. I think both of them should be low. Although
See, I think
Lambert's got
Juju-
Juju, and I bet he still wants a premium for
Well,
him.
I guarantee it.
Lambert, there's no reason for Lambert to sell. He's got a stacked team.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but if somebody's saying Juju for a late first, I'm going to take my chances, see how the draft
yeah.
plays out, and if I don't love somebody with that late first, I'll deal it for Juju all day.
Oh yeah, I would trade. I mean, I got 6 first-round picks in our league of record,
I would trade a high first.
and I would probably trade the number 3 pick for Juju.
Wow.
That's Jeff.
I mean, that's
Jerry
not
Judy.
a bad. If Ben
I mean,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
if Roethlisberger's back, why not? And he's supposed to be.
he's supposed to be. He's planning on coming back.
So,
But yeah, I mean, I'll buy the guy, and hopefully Lambert doesn't listen to this because I'm gonna try to go cheaper.
chances are he will.
Lambert listens. He listens to find out what we're willing to pay for players. I'm confident in that.
Right. Let's talk about some running back MVP, LVPs real quick. Obviously, McCaffrey blew it up, but you paid the price.
I think it's got to be Eckler.
Eckler, for sure.
I mean, I have CMC as my MVP, but I have Eckler as number 2. So,
Well, Eckler was kind of an also ran price. You know what I mean?
Nothing wrong with Aaron Jones.
and I had Aaron Jones number 3.
Or I've got one that's going to blow your mind. Miles Sanders.
I was looking at him too.
It finishes above Todd Gurley and below Saquon Barkley in total production. And Miles Sanders was a guy that you're just looking at like, well, he could never get on the field in
Yeah.
college until his senior year. Well, I don't know when he came out. I think his senior year. But let's remember, Barry Sanders was Thurman Thomas's backup too, right? You know, studs can back up studs. And I mean, he wasn't great to begin the year, but he was always productive. I mean, even at the very beginning, 3 points, 6 points, 12, 7. You like, if you're just kind of needing him for a spot fill, and then towards the end, like last 2 games, 35, 26.
He's your top rookie running back points overall.
Oh, yeah.
And points per game, Josh Jacobs edged him by basically 0.8 points per game. So hard to complain. If you held on to Miles Sanders the second half of the season, he rewarded you.
Yeah, but what was he, the 5th, 6th, 7th rookie running back?
Who?
Miles Sanders.
No, first.
No, he's talking
Oh,
about
you're
ADP.
talking about okay.
You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Singletary,
Yeah,
all
my
those
bad.
guys.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
He's
behind
probably
all
what?
of them.
He
know,
probably,
like,
probably like 5,
Probably
4 or
5th,
5. Yeah.
5th
Yeah.
or 6th would be my guess.
David Montgomery went before him. Singletary, it was probably a toss-up between
Yeah,
those
I'd say
two.
that
I
was a
figured it's
toss-up.
him, Singletary, and obviously Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, but David Montgomery, kind of an LVP.
Yeah.
Inconsistent. Really didn't give you.
But you can't be banking on David
Well,
Montgomery.
No, but I mean the preseason hype. I think some
Listen,
people were.
I got Saquon as my LVP.
Saquon's-
Outside of,
yeah.
and if you happen to make the playoffs with him on your team, he may have won you a title because the last 2 weeks he bought out. But
Have you
30
heard the name
30 and 40.
James Conner?
LVP.
I'm
James Conner is the LVP, my friend.
LVP. They
Dude
made,
finished 32nd.
they may be looking to bring someone in after
They could,
what happened with
yeah.
him. They should.
And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but David Johnson, dude couldn't even keep the job on his own team.
Right.
You're
Oh, yeah. I
still
mean, those
paying-
are definitely all worth mentioning.
Top 10-ish, running back prices to have David Johnson.
Speaking of Kenyon Drake, my two dynasty title teams, I own Kenyon Drake in both of them. I played Kenyon Drake in both of them.
I mean, there's a lot of LVP candidates.
There's a ton.
Like,
Kamara could be an LVP just because you didn't get what you hoped.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And that's
I know,
why
I
I
don't
put-
wanna
I'm with
hear
you.
it.
And that's what I did with Saquon. I mean, he's running back 12. He was 1-2 in most drafts. Just besides these, if you take off the last 2 weeks, I don't even know where he was. He had a monster last 2 weeks to get to running back 12.
Yeah. If someone would have told me,
but in the points per game, he was 6.
well, yeah,
So,
yeah,
because he missed 3
yeah,
games.
he missed 3 games.
right. But the whole point I'm looking at is like Kamara in round 1 or Leonard Fournette, who scored basically the same points per game in round 2 or later.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's
I agree
unfortunate.
with you.
Now, granted, dynasty, you want to hold on to Kamara.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason. There's no reason to sell Kamara at all, in my opinion. There's no buying low on him. If I'm an owner of Kamara, he's still not going anywhere. I mean, we saw his floor this season. His floor is damn near still a top 10 back in overall points. It is a top 10 back in points per game. You don't sell top 10 backs with the potential to be the number one. Kamara still has the potential to be the best.
Who was your, I don't want to say MVP, but who was the biggest surprise? And I'm kind of throwing you guys under the bus on this one. Like, you were shocked to see the production out of this year. It doesn't have to be top 10 guy.
Lamar.
No. Running back.
Oh, well, probably, honest to God, probably Chris Carson for me.
Carson?
Yeah, just because I always thought Rashad Penny was the more talented back. I thought he was going to unseat him at some point this season. So Chris Carson, that's one of them for me. Other than that, man, Kenyon Drake. I've always been a Kenyon Drake believer, but I knew in Miami it would never happen. He goes to Arizona, and now he's looking. It looks like he could be the feature back next year for Arizona.
Carlos Hyde.
Carlos
First
Hyde,
time breaking 1,000 yards in his career.
Really?
Like, that shocked me.
yeah.
Where'd he finish out on the 27th still?
No, he's
David
still, that's the
Montgomery.
reason I'm saying, like, I'm shocked that he did that well. He's normally like a 700-800 yard guy on a good year. 6 touchdowns, had a lot of decent games. Nothing great, but a lot of decent games.
Yeah.
So,
Tariq Cohen's a guy that I think people were still counting on despite David Johnson. Like, they thought that Tariq Cohen was still going to be that guy that caught a lot of balls, should break a lot of long runs, and we never really had a Tariq Cohen highlight week.
nope.
Not at all. His best week was 18.4, and I think even that one was quiet, and then everything else was just 15 or below.
That's why
It wasn't impressive.
I would tell you, that's why I struggle with those, like, they're just too small to play in the league kind of guys.
Right.
That I know he was great last year, but that's something I was off of his bandwagon. I'm like, man, the addition of Montgomery, just not going to be good news for him.
Right.
Someone who can also catch a ball, and unlike Jordan Howard.
Another LVP, Sony Michel. Sony Michel, if you owned him, it basically paid you very little dividends. He was bye week level this year.
He had moments. 3 touchdown game, I believe, but so did Tevin Coleman.
Right.
There's
I mean,
a lot of disappointment.
Less than 10 a game for Michelle. That was one of those questions at the Midwest Expo. I like bringing that up at the end of the year on the mock draft panel. Everyone was on board the Sony Michel train, and one guy in the audience said, he's a Bill Belichick running back. Like, I'm not buying him, and no one agreed with him. And I was like, I raised my hand. I was like, I'm not buying him either. Like, I'm just not. Like, I like Sony Michel. But they don't even use him correctly. He was one of the best passing backs coming out of college that year, and James White's still their passing back.
And James White had legitimately 6 career catches in college.
Yeah.
Like, Sony Michel has, 100 or something. James White has 6, and they're like, we're going to switch your roles, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, he loses touches to Burkhead, and they just don't use him right.
He loses touches to Burkhead after he gets a 6-yard gain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? First and 10, 6 yards. We'll bring in Burkhead. And you're like, what the hell's going on, Bill?
I'll tell you a couple other guys that were drafted that, looking back on it now, they shouldn't have been drafted whatsoever. Kalen Ballage. There's a lot of Kalen Ballage fans heading into the season. That was a big, massive mistake. Damian Williams. Damian Williams was going high in drafts at one time, and that was a big mistake.
T.J. Yeldon.
I didn't know T.J. Yeldon was getting drafted.
Oh, T.J. Yeldon get drafted because he's going to Buffalo.
I did.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't know
saying
what
he
he's
was
talking
a
about.
third rounder. But
What about the Niners backs? I mean, they
Canceled each other out.
Canceled-
Luckily, I don't think
Mostert, I think he finished like running back 23 or something, and
if anybody listened to us, they didn't take the Niners backs.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't big on Coleman. Burita, I love.
Yeah, I like Burita, but
we know that he gets nicked up. I mean, he's a risky running back, even though he's a good running back.
Yeah, I mean, tons of all three of them have a ton of upside, though. That's the crap about it. Like, there's upside galore, but, by the way, I was scrolling through here just to pick out names. Randomly found out Samaje Perine's a Dolphin.
Whoa, when did that happen? Don't you love when there's these underlying signings that you just
4 days
never hear
ago.
about?
4 days ago, Samaje Perine could be the feature back this week.
I hope so. I'd like to see what he can do.
That
wow.
is beautiful.
Samaje Perine is every bit as good as Bo Scarborough.
Oh, yeah.
Every bit as good as Bo Scarborough.
Single game rushing record in college.
So, hey, maybe he'll get a chance.
Here, I'm sorry, I gotta read this to you. I just pulled it up. It says, with Gaskin likely to miss week 17, the Dolphins need another warm body running back. And then it said, the sad part is that Perine, this is from that's Fantasy Pros. Sad part is Perine may be the most talented, healthy back on the roster. While he's been inefficient on the ground throughout his career, he has a solid college pedigree and can handle workhorse amount of touches. He was wallowing on the Bengals practice squad, now likely to be given a look in the offseason with an eye towards seeing if he can prove enough to warrant a roster spot. Give that kid the rock. That is if he's even available on DraftKings, which he's probably not.
He's not.
He's got to. I was gonna say he's got to be like free.
Ronnie Brown's probably available in DraftKings over Samaje Perine. But the Miami, they take a guy like Mark Walton, make him semi-relevant. A guy like Patrick Laird, make him semi-relevant. Give Samaje the rock.
Let's realize something. All jokes aside, like not saying Samaje Perine's the second coming of anything, but there was a point in time that Arian Foster was a practice squad guy.
Right.
Behind Steve Slayton, he was a practice squad guy. Got cut, I believe, and then re-signed to the practice squad, and then got 3 starts at the end of the season.
Listen, Miami is talentless at a lot of positions. This is the kind of situation where if Perine doesn't get a spark here, he's probably done at that point. He's on his third team.
But nobody's got like 3 yards of carry in Miami. You know, if the kid can muster 4 yards of carry, maybe you pass on running back this year in the draft and address every other position need because you got a ton of them.
You don't pass.
They got a ton of picks. They'll pick them.
They got a ton of needs too.
Oh yeah,
they do. But it's
yeah,
not
but you
like,
can
it's
pick
not,
a backup in the second,
Listen,
third, fourth, fifth round.
I'm not sure Zeke could get 4.5 yards carry there.
It's not like they're trying to like go from worst to first in 2020. They're not. It's a rebuild, full rebuild. They're not going to address every position.
I just want to see the
draft.
kid get the shot. That's all.
They got a crap ton of money. Spend it on the offensive line and then draft accordingly.
Yeah, but they're also in that weird situation to where even if you spend it, like if you're willing to spend it, are people willing to come?
I'm always.
I mean, I know early on they really looked like a shit show,
Really
but
wanted
I've
to.
been impressed with Miami lately. They've shown some fight.
They've been.
They're out
coached
there
up.
trying to win. I mean, I think
Just
the coach is
playing
doing a good
themselves
job.
right out of that first draft.
Well, I mean,
overall pick.
I'm okay with that, man.
Yeah.
The whole Miami's tanking this season. I'm like, there's no way a coach from New England, a first-year coach, is just going to tank, and he didn't. He coached him up. Like, there's hope for Miami because Flores looks like he could be the answer. I mean, the guy had him playing well. He had third-string cornerbacks playing well. He had the team fired up. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Do you think he's the starter next year going in?
He freaking better be. And I understand that he could come back next year and lead the league in interceptions, but there's no reason to go with anyone else. There's just
I agree.
not. You draft a guy. Now, listen, I would be okay if Miami brought Marcus Mariota in and kicked the tires.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that because, again, Tannehill can go from one team to the other and succeed. Let's try it with Tennessee's old quarterback. Let's bring
I'm
Mariota
going
in.
to throw this out here, and this is off the wall. There's some uncertainty about Tom Brady,
I don't want Tom Brady.
but he may not be in New England last year. If I'm not, isn't this the last year of his contract?
I don't think he will.
Man,
But where's it? I mean, could very well be in Denver, but you know what I mean? Who's to say that?
I just don't
doesn't
see
say,
Brady
you know what?
playing anywhere else. I just can't.
I
don't
do.
see it either. I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I
see-
do.
Of course, I never thought Peyton Manning would play anywhere else either. But
Right.
I think if Brady goes someplace else, he wants to go to an immediate contender.
Well,
If the
obviously. Of
course.
Patriots get knocked out in the wild card round, because they're not going to get. They don't have home field, or they don't even have a bye, do they?
who?
New England.
Yeah.
I think they've got a bye.
Do they have a bye?
If they win this week, they get a bye.
Oh man, Miami always gets one on them.
They
Yeah.
do.
They do.
They do. It wouldn't surprise me if Miami does beat them this week. I mean, it's going to surprise everybody else, including Las Vegas. But Miami does. I mean, the one game a year they win sometimes is against the Patriots.
And if the Patriots lose that game, they're very susceptible to a loss in the wild card round. They're not that great. So I think if you see New England not win a playoff game this year, I think they do move on from Tom Brady. I think you could see a move up for a Tua Tagovailoa.
But I mean, with what? You know, I mean, what are they going to give up to move up? That's a brilliantly ran organization. They're not going to overpay to move up for a
They
guy.
may not have to. There may be a guy like Justin Herbert sitting there when they come
Yeah,
to pick.
true.
I mean, it's just, who declared? Someone just declared for the draft.
If they move on from Brady, I'm guessing they're going to bring in another veteran guy to take over that team. That's just me.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck.
Yeah. There you go.
Could happen.
That really could happen.
I still don't. I don't think Luck was going to leave unless he was done. Personally, I know you've been on the Luck coming back train off, but I don't see it.
But if the Patriots with a
Well-
really solid defense,
Won't the Colts still hold some kind of rights to him, though?
I don't know.
Probably.
They may give it up after a year.
And
you know?
Andrew Luck may even be like, well, who am I going to throw to? Like, who am I
Julian
throwing
Edelman,
to in New
first rounder,
England?
Nikhil Harry,
Julian Edelman turns, 88 next year?
He's old.
wide receiver 5.
Nikhil
Yeah.
Harry, he scored some touchdowns, but it's on 1 and 2 targets.
Gronk's going to come back
Gronk
with
will
luck.
come back, play with Luck.
He'll
he
be-
loves throwing to the tight end.
Gronk will be 56 when he comes back.
He'll be 30.
Just the body of a 56-year-old.
Any more fantasy MVPs at quarterback? LVP, Aaron Rodgers.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I had Baker also.
Baker-
Rodgers with a close second.
Baker was so far and away because I think we were all on that
Yeah.
Baker top 5, no doubt about it.
Ryan Fitzpatrick had a better season than Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah. He was QB 19 in points in
Yeah.
our league.
And
bad.
Did he miss one game? Did he miss a game? He
Baker,
didn't miss
I
a
don't
game.
think
No, he didn't miss a
He
game.
didn't miss a game.
Well, okay, no, he did have 0 points in week 5.
That was just a shit game.
That was just
he had-
8 completions.
I think he had negative points in a game, didn't he?
8 completions. My God, Baker. Does Baker rebound in
Yes,
2020?
I think
think
he
so.
does.
I think they get rid of their coach. I think they need to get rid of their
think
coach.
I think they have to.
They have to. It's
Yeah.
going to be an interesting season because there's too much talent. Can we talk about Patrick Mahomes as sort of an LVP?
Yeah. I mean,
There
I
were-
don't think so.
There were drafts that he went number 1 overall.
Yeah, but he was still QB4
well, he
points
still
per game in the points per game.
he scored more points per game than Deshaun Watson. So, I mean, it's hard to call him an LVP. He just didn't do what he did last year, and you knew that.
Yeah.
I mean,
He threw 25 touchdowns so far. I mean, they're playing the Chargers this week. Obviously, he's probably going to throw 1 or 2 at
But the
least.
touchdowns were down across the league passing wise.
but with
Right.
I mean, Lamar led with 36.
Hey, somebody said that he wasn't going to be
No,
close.
I get it.
Wasn't
I'm
how
just-
many
close.
weeks in a row has he said?
I don't know. I think he said it all season.
We do have a question. You guys want to go?
Yeah.
You want
Yeah, go ahead.
the question? Can play 2 of these tight ends as wide receiver. Jared Cook, Tyler Higbee, Dallas Goddard.
Higbee Goddard.
Higbee Goddard.
Non PPR.
I still think it's Higbee Goddard.
Higbee Goddard.
And I like Cook, but
Dude, Cook's been playing well.
Cook has been playing good.
Cook's been playing really well.
I think he's got a touchdown in like 3 out of the last 4 games. There might be 4 touchdowns in the last 4 games, but 2 of them in one.
Goddard for sure. Ertz is out. You got to play Goddard.
Got to play Goddard.
Goddard is. Can we just? He's now worth the question. Is he the best tight end there? I know the
Not yet.
production doesn't bear it out yet, but man, he looks better.
Yeah, I don't know.
He finished top 10.
Ertz still finished what, 4?
2.
2.
Yeah, 2.
Oh,
2.
2.
And points. He
George
finished
Kittle
2.
missed a couple games.
Yeah, Kittle was 3.
Points per game, a little different story. But, yeah, Ertz finished second overall by 0.4 points over George Kittle in our league of record.
And that with the 2 games that Kittle missed.
Jared Cook finished 7th. He missed a couple games and finished 7th. That's pretty solid out of Jared
Higbee
Cook.
finishes 8th.
That was, and it was all at the end. That was your fantasy playoff tight end right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Playoff MVP for tight end, of course, no doubt about it.
Well, let's double check on that.
So, all right.
I don't like Higbee in that pick too, though. I like Cook and Goddard.
Higbee, even whenever they brought back,
Kelsey and Kittle put up
Everett.
more points than Higbee
yes,
in the playoffs.
yeah, but I'm saying the fact that Higbee, you weren't expecting it
Agree 100%.
from a
Yeah, I mean,
If
three straight games over 100 yards.
I agree.
So
yeah. So, oh man, and you know he was impressive to me this year, and I've been off of him. Period. Hunter Henry. Like
yeah,
he missed 4 games, but Hunter Henry's pretty productive almost the entire year. He had some bad games, but
so who's your guys' since we're talking about tight ends? Who's your fantasy MVP for tight end?
Mark Andrews and Dallas Goedert are a tie for me.
I got Mark Andrews.
Yeah, Mark Andrews. Goddard did great, but he didn't do enough for me to put him in that MVP at the tight end position. Probably Andrews and Hooper, to be honest. I know Hooper didn't kill it at the second half of the season, but man, he was winning you games the first
Yeah,
half.
same with Waller. The first half of the year, you could say Waller was up there, but second half he kind of dropped off a little bit.
Right. If you played him in week 15, of course, he got you 20 in the playoffs. But yeah, he faded a little bit for sure. If Oakland gets a decent quarterback, that probably won't happen again. So, Mike Gesicki finished 12th overall. That's a
Pretty good for a guy that they were talking about might not make the roster.
Yeah, that's a triumph.
Preseason.
I'm really glad that pick is finally paying
I'm
off.
I'm loving this second year tight end draft class.
Yeah. I mean, so far, the whole
Andrews,
Goddard was the best in the class.
Goddard.
Looks correct.
Gesicki, they're all 3 second year guys. Am I right? Pretty
Yes.
sure they're all 3 second year
They are.
guys.
Yeah,
I believe, yeah.
they are.
But I mean, and with what Andrews was doing, there were other tight ends on that team still productive.
Oh, yeah.
Hurst played fine at several points in the year. Boyle was getting touchdowns.
Hurst is a big time bust, though. God, they drafted him in the first round.
Well, we hated that right from the get go. Dude's 40.
We did. But you ever hear Arms start a sentence and he goes, and I just want to hit the button. And I must be the wrong one. Anytime you say I must be the
LVP.
wrong one. LVP at the tight end position.
O.J. Howard for me.
O.J. Howard, 100%. Evan Ingram a close second just because he just got injured like he normally does.
I had Ebron.
But O.J. Howard didn't get injured, and he's tight end 24.
Ebron's a pretty big one, too. Ebron did.
O.J. Howard was injured. He missed.
Yeah, well, yeah, he did miss 3 games.
I'm gonna
2 games.
I'm gonna give Ebron
2
a
games.
pass just because whenever they lost Andrew Luck, we kind of knew Ebron wasn't going to put up those numbers.
He finished tight end 27.
It was pretty rough. He missed 3 games.
But he only had 3 games, 4 games over 10 points.
I mean, when you're getting beat by Ryan Griffin of the Jets, it's an LVP season.
But and I'm incredibly disappointed with O.J. Howard
Yeah.
too. But Ebron was there last year, like at that top 5 level. I think he finished 5th or 6th. He might have been 4th last year, and then 27th or so this year. Bad.
What was the stat they threw out there? O.J. Howard has more tackles than touchdowns.
Unless he has a career game this
Career
week.
game, and he'd have to have 3 to tie his tackles.
Yeah.
That's who's to say he doesn't get any more this week.
Hey, whenever you have a quarterback that throws as many interceptions as his quarterback does, you're going to get some
Yeah.
tackles.
How much of his season is because of the fact of Chris Godwin breaking out? I mean, how much did that hurt O.J. Howard?
I think it's more of the Arian style of offense. He's never had a tight end that really produces.
Yeah. Now, I will say, again, we are proved rookie tight ends, you should not draft and play them in redraft leagues because Noah Fant,
what, three?
He was fine.
Two or three games of relevance.
Yeah,
Right.
T.J. Hawkinson
which
had
meant 15
About the
overall.
same.
week one. Everybody was on him because he blew up week one, and then
That was it.
That was it.
I was gonna say,
That
I don't
was
think he
it.
did anything the rest
I
of
don't
the year.
think so either.
No,
I think he had one more 100-yard game.
him.
But literally, like single digits,
Yeah.
like 4 points after that.
Now this last name I'm going to drop was 0.3 points away, but Hawkinson, Irv Smith, Dawson Knox
Wow.
finished in a row, 30th, 31, 32. So yeah, T.J. Hawkinson kind of an LVP. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, the first week he had over 100 yards in his debut.
Yeah, you'd have been better off with Foster Moreau or Caden Smith, as far as like trying to get somewhere in the playoffs.
Caden Smith was really productive at the end of the year for the Giants.
It was, that was a great pickup, 6th round guy.
Yeah, I
Caden
mean,
Smith.
he looked good.
And he got drafted by San Francisco.
Didn't know that.
San Francisco drafted this guy out of Stanford. What happened? Was he just cut?
Maybe they
Like,
signed him off the practice
did
squad,
they
or
make a trade? I didn't even put that together.
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Did you know that, Arms?
What's that?
Caden Smith, who had a pretty solid second half of the season for the Giants, was a rookie this year, drafted by the Niners out of Stanford.
yeah,
I'm going to have to do some research. Was he cut? Was he on the practice squad? Was it a trade?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question at all.
Wow.
yeah. To go, I don't know, that's pretty rare, I guess, because he had multiple touchdowns. I mean, I think he had 2 touchdowns last week.
Yeah, he was claimed off waivers week 12. So San
wow.
Francisco must have said, we don't need this guy. And Giants are like, yeah, we need this guy.
So they picked him up week 12 and just plugged him right in the starting lineup.
Week 12, plugged him in. He was we'll call him Glade for the rest of his career because he just got plugged in and he provided sweet smells for the Giants.
Okay.
Sweet
Glade
smells.
Smith.
I don't think there's no. Did we go over who the MVP is at quarterback? I don't think there's a question, right?
No question.
No question.
There's no
I mean, Lamar
question.
Jackson was available in waiver wires in some leagues. You know,
Yeah, just no question. I mean, he a full 7 points per game. Well, almost a full 7 points per game. Then the next best quarterback.
Points per game. Was that Drew Brees too?
Let's see. Points per game, 37 to 31. It was actually not. Drew Brees wasn't that far behind. He was missed games, put him down the list.
and then Stafford rebounding after the trash year he had the previous year.
he was rebounding,
But then, out after week 9.
sadly. But yeah, Lamar far and away. And I think we named our LVPs there. That was pretty easy. But Arms, before we talk DraftKings, you wanted to say a few words.
No, I just one of the reasons why I got into football, and we talked about this probably a month ago, like who got you to like the favorite team, and the guy that got me to like my favorite team was my uncle Don Schatz. He passed away this past Sunday, and this has been a pretty rough week for my family. We were very close. And we're a close family. Like, I get along with all my uncles really well. Whether you like it or not, like I hunt, and that's every year. Me, both my uncles, my cousin, like we all take that week off of gun season, first week of gun season, and we spend a lot of time together. And it's been rough. Today was his funeral. He struggled for several years with no kidney. He got a transplant about, I think, 6-8 months, maybe a year after he found out he was born with one kidney and then it failed him. He got a transplant. It was good for, I think, about 10 years. And then his body rejected that kidney finally. And he's been living on dialysis for 4 or 5 years. And his last few days were great. The best he's felt in a very long time, but man, it's been a heartbreaker. But he's the reason I fell in love with the Raiders, and so yeah, I don't know. I just felt the need to say something about it, and hug your family, guys. You're never going to regret spending more time with them.
Yeah. And I, honest to God, I've never heard any one name mentioned by Arms more than Don.
Yeah.
So the significance is pretty major. Let's talk some DraftKings.
Well, let's talk defensive MVPs. I've got a couple of those.
Oh yeah, we do IDP, don't we?
So
We really slacked on our IDP.
We did. We
stuff.
did.
Like, we helped you draft the guys, but then after that, it was like, oh, hands off.
well, you kind
Hands off.
Yeah, I mean, I know you do your primer every week, but yeah, we definitely slacked this season. A guy that we loved, I know me and Barker were hot on him, Sam Hubbard. Finishes defensive lineman, tackling in number 5, 43 tackles, 7 sacks. The kid's on his way. And
Oh, definitely.
if you look at what Ohio State's putting into the draft in the past few years, I mean, John Simon looks good with the Patriots. Sam Hubbard killing it. The Bosa brothers killing it. And this year, Chase Young
if he comes out,
could very well be
number 1 overall.
the number 1 overall pick. Talent-wise, he probably is the most talented player in the draft, but then there's that whole team need thing.
He could be number 1 overall in fantasy next year.
For IDP? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
100% could be that guy. He's got that kind of talent. I mean, Bosa came out of the gates as a top 5. So, yeah. And I'm talking about Joey, of course.
Yeah. Well, Nick
top 20 this year.
did he finish top? Man,
20th overall.
he had some nasty games. Though.
There's nothing wrong with 20th
No,
overall.
not at all.
Rookie defensive end,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Linebacker, pretty universal. Jordan Hicks.
Jordan Hicks, yeah, that's who I have down as my
Lord.
MVP.
Did you have a
Jordan
lineman?
100%.
No, I didn't. I did linebackers.
But
Yeah.
Jordan Hicks, for a guy that was like, most of us, I looked at him as like a solid number 3 guy.
Yeah.
You know, you always liked what he put on the field, but he was never great. I know you were hot on him.
I drafted him as my number 3 linebacker in the Brill. So at the Back Row Invitational League, Jordan Hicks was the guy that fell to me, and I was not thrilled. But I was like, I mean, he's going to put up number 3 numbers because he's the middle linebacker in Arizona. That's been a pretty solid spot. Not great. It's been solid. So I thought, Jordan Hicks, I'll take him as my number 3. And little did I know he was my number 1. And then luckily I had Blake Martinez as well.
Yeah.
But Blake, that guy that you don't remember because of his name that ends up finishing top 5 every single year.
He finished top 5 again,
Top
didn't he?
5 again this year.
Just
So,
ridiculous.
Fred Warner, worth a mention.
Fred Warner's definitely up there. But I mean, he productive last year though.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone expected that because they Reuben Foster, they brought Reuben Foster in, then he killed somebody or something like that. So I mean, I think people were already hopping off the Fred Warner train just because they brought in Reuben Foster, thinking, well, they don't have their guy yet if they're bringing in more guys. But Fred Warner ended up being their guy.
Yeah.
And I think for like the LVPs, if you have to try to remove the injury side out of it because most of your LVP guys
Don't say his name.
they were just injured. Like that's all there is to it. Whether it's Van Der Esch, whoever. But my LVP was actually Miles Jack.
Okay, thank God. I was about to say, if you said Darius Leonard, he missed 3 games, but he still averaged the most points per game.
Yeah.
No, for me, the reason why Miles Jack from a points per game standpoint was 50th.
Yeah, Miles Jack just isn't very good.
I didn't go down that far of the list. I put Deion Jones, linebacker 32.
Yeah, Deion Jones, that's
pretty
disappointing. And Devondre Campbell was a big reason.
Yeah.
Devondre Campbell was all over the field, making tackles, making plays. That guy is worth mentioning as an MVP on the IDP side because Devondre Campbell,
Yeah.
he was probably drafted at the back end of every IDP draft and ended up being a top 11 guy. Thank God I owned him in a league. I picked him up off waivers after like 3 weeks in one of my dynasty leagues, and that was one of my championship leagues.
Yeah.
So,
Defensive back?
let me mention Zach Cunningham real quick because Cunningham had never finished like very highly. I think he was like top 20 his second year in the league. And then this third year, Zach Cunningham finally comes to fruition as the number 3 overall.
You were a year
linebacker.
late on him.
I was a year. Well, I drafted him as a rookie in every league that I could because I was high on him. But it took a couple years for it to pan out. So I wanted to throw him out there before we moved on to the least valuable position, LVP.
Freaking
Defensive. No, that's probably D-line. But second runner-up to the least valuable position, defensive backs, Ryan Logan.
Yeah.
My God. Waivers again. I
Never
picked
in
him
a
up off
million
waivers.
years. We do not endorse nor guarantee the production or the value of a cornerback.
No.
And 99% of the time, a cornerback doesn't finish in the top 10. And if you look, other than Ryan Logan, you don't see a cornerback till 14.
It's Logan Ryan, by the way.
Or Logan, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's
I'm reading
Samuel,
it.
Samuel,
Whatever.
it's
Logan
Debo,
Ryan.
Samuel Debo.
Yeah.
But Ryan, damn it. Logan Ryan finishes just edging out Buda Baker.
Yeah.
Which Buda we called as the number 1 overall defensive back, and that's basically that's what happened. It was 0.33 points per game that separated him and Logan Ryan. And
Logan Ryan had 50 more points than the number 2 corner.
Than the number 2 corner, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Number 2 corner, 50 more points.
Kyle Fuller was that man. So, listen, I picked up Logan Ryan in pretty much every league that I could after week 4, I believe. I'm holding on to him. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Number 3 DB for you next year? Like, he'll probably drop off, but he'll probably still be worth starting.
One of my LVPs is a guy I absolutely love, but Eddie Jackson.
Yeah.
Didn't miss a game and
Eddie
finished
didn't.
73.
Eddie did nothing. Eddie did nothing.
I mean, he was propped up a lot last year by the touchdowns. Interception return, fumble return for touchdown. Had some excellent games and just put together two valuable games this year, 2 over 10.
I'd like to nominate another guy as a pretty savvy grab. Taylor Rapp was mostly a free agent guy. Not a lot of people drafted him in rookie drafts.
Yeah, him and Tracy Walker
Yeah.
for Detroit.
Give me one reason to stay here. Oh, wait a minute.
That's Tracy Chapman.
Tracy
Whatever.
Chapman. So, yeah, I'm glad you knew who it was because I wasn't sure what her name was. I just knew it was something Tracy or Tracy something. So, good job, Hux.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah, Tracy Walker, that was a massive surprise. If you go points per game, Tracy Walker was 4th.
Yeah, I mean, heck of a pickup.
Great pickup.
It's been it was a weird season. Like
It
the
has
Minkas and the Jabril Peppers, those guys were just not good.
Jabril was fantastic.
But from a points per total points, he finished 32nd.
He missed 4 games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess so.
Number 9 overall in points per game.
Okay.
I mean,
I had it by
Jabril was
total
an
points.
asset.
Had it by total points. So
Yeah, so get it right on Peppers Jabril. Everybody.
we won't screw that one up. I'll screw up what team they're on. I can guarantee that. But those guys are so interchangeable to me. I'm sorry.
I think they may have won that trade
Yeah.
with Cleveland.
Looks like they did.
Oh, they did. They did.
Looks like they did. Good lineman, Jabril Peppers, Odell Beckham on his way out. Like, oh, want to play for Cleveland? They suck.
I mean, Giants had some receivers step in. Slayton had a heck of a rookie year.
Yeah. Would they have won any more games with Beckham?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Don't think they would have.
Cleveland didn't win any more with him.
Boy, I didn't really notice, but Minkah Fitzpatrick really dropped off the map over the last 6 games.
Yeah.
Stat-wise, but, man, that Pittsburgh defense has been good.
Played a lot better with him.
A lot better with him.
For sure. That and they won that trade.
Yeah.
Minkah played great. Elevated the whole defense to a new level.
Yeah.
But let's now ready
Now.
DK, ready for
Now.
some DK?
With some DraftKings.
Take it away, boys.
What do you want to start with, Hux?
I have no idea.
Do you want to start with?
You're more prepared than I am. Let's
I know,
go.
but do you want to start with the showdowns or?
Sure.
All right.
Are we doing all of them?
I've got something for all of them. Yes.
Okay.
So
You lead.
start
and
with
I'll just
the
go.
Patriots in Miami.
Gotcha.
The Patriots defense is a little pricey this week for a defense as your MVP. One of them that a lineup I kind of was able to put together was Patriots defense, which cost you 10-8 as your captain. I've got James White, Gesicki, Edelman, Albert Wilson, and Sanu. Yeah, I don't think I wrote down Sanu. I feel like I wrote something wrong there. But nice.
Tool fan.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Who did you say besides Sanu?
Hey, give me a second because
Missing one.
I'm not gonna lie. I can't read my own writing on this one.
Yeah, there's a lot.
No,
of
Sony. It was Sony Michelle. Sorry, not Sanu. Sony Michelle. So it was Pat's defense: James White, Gesicki, Edelman, Wilson,
Edelman,
Sony,
who I missed.
and Sony Michelle.
That's Solid.
Could not read my own damn writing right there. And the whole fact of this is Ryan Fitzpatrick, your quarterback in Miami, he throws interceptions, and the Patriots capitalize.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if they have one pick six or one fumble recovery for a touchdown, they more than pay off, even at the 10-8 captain price.
I mean, in week 2 against Miami, the Patriots defense scored 37 points. 4 interceptions.
I think that's the one that
7 sacks, 2 touchdowns. I mean, of course, you're not going to repeat that, but
do you get close? Do you get 20
But I
points,
mean,
25
the majority
points?
of their big games as the defense has been against lower level teams. So yeah, and the Patriots are playing for that bye week. So because if they lose and the Chiefs win, the Patriots don't get a bye week. They're playing round 1. So this is a game they want to win.
Yeah, they have to. So they're going to be out there, bells on, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't like Tom Brady at all in any lineup. His cost versus what he puts out on the field is not that good. I was able to piece together one with Edelman, and big factor in this is the way Edelman plays the game is kind of the killer for Miami's defense. You know, cutting across the middle, you know, finding soft spots. It wouldn't shock me if Edelman had, 12 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown this week. So I was able to put together Edelman, Folk, the Pats defense, Sony Michel, James White, and then the common denominator is Albert Wilson. He's just cheap. He's cheap. If he can get, catch 4 balls for 40 yards, he's probably going to pay off. So
he is cheap. He wouldn't even buy his girl a ring.
So that's
Albert Wilson's been playing good lately. So, 7 targets, 8 targets the last 2 weeks.
That's my factor with him is I can't. If they're going to take anything away, what are they going to take away?
They're going to take away Devontae Parker.
There we go.
So that's what they're known to do is take away that number 1. They don't have a run game unless P. Ryan steps in and just
that might be, but she's not even.
He's
available.
not on here.
So,
but yeah.
So your freaking MVP may not even be there.
So you really don't know what they're going to do with P. Ryan. So it's even hard to suggest a running back for the Dolphins to play this week. So
yeah,
but yeah, I would stack the Patriots the best way you could. I like going with the Pats D, but they're probably going to be the popular pick at at captain spot.
But even whenever they are like, it's a no brainer. They're still no more than like 15% owned as captain.
And they're.
And then piecing in where you can elsewhere.
They're the 5th highest priced, so maybe they won't be as popular because of the price.
Well, I'm looking at it from the showdown perspective.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But I think a lot of people are going to think Tom Brady's going to ball out, and I think he throws 2 touchdowns. But I don't think that this is a Tom Brady game. I honestly think it comes down to the running backs just eating him alive. A big lead and just milk
this
it
could
out.
be a Sony. I don't know if he gets 100, but he could get a couple touchdowns.
I'm thinking Sony Michel for 85 yards.
And he's went over 80 the last 2 weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah, I believe he has.
96 last week, 89 the week before that. So, they're getting into that mode that they went in last year. At the end of the year, they started running the ball more.
Yep.
Whether it's the weather or...
Yeah, and James White's still going to get his. There's no doubt about it. Here's the thing. I could see Edelman getting a touchdown, James White getting a touchdown, both through the air, and Sony getting one on the ground.
Yeah.
And that might be all it takes. And then the rest of it just grinding out the yards. The only reason, other than Parker obviously being the focal point of what the Patriots want to shut down this week, I go with Wilson because he has game-breaking ability.
Yeah, he can take one to the house and he meets value right there on one catch.
Exactly. And what's his price on this? I don't have it in front of me.
4,400.
4,400.
Yeah.
He would also be an interesting captain play, just to be contrarian on your captain.
And even he could just be the only Dolphin you play. Put him in a captain, load up on Patriots the rest of the way, and
yeah.
I was about to say that DraftKings might pay you $4,400 to take Albert Wilson.
He's been producing.
So
last couple of weeks,
you can make a lot happen if you have Albert Wilson as your captain.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll just put it that way. So, you got any other?
No.
Anyone else you like in that? All right. So, next one's Chargers KC. We've got 2 different ones here. Melvin Gordon's a little disrespected in his price. His captain price is $12,000. So I've got one with him as at $12,000. Mike Williams at $5,600. Eckler at $88,000. I think they're both going to get theirs. Then, even with him at that price, you can fit him. If you put Butker at 4,200, you can still afford Keenan Allen and Travis Kelce. You know, Tyreek Hill's been disappointing for the most part of the season.
Yes, I agree.
Kelce hasn't. So I think that gets you a high price, real valuable captain. Yes, I know I leave Mahomes out.
Got to remember, Hill, part of his problem was missed games.
Well, his points per game isn't that great either.
No. 16.7
Yeah, but I mean, Kelce
on DraftKings.
and I don't think you can even afford Hill. Versus, like, I think Hill and Mahomes are two highest. No, yeah, Hill and Mahomes are two of the highest priced guys. So
Yeah.
dropping down to Kelce really isn't that big of a drop.
No, then they're only $600 difference.
So
The thing about the Chiefs, they're playing at 1 o'clock also, along with the Patriots. So they're kind of a must. I mean, they're not really must win, but I guess will they be watching the scoreboard? If New England's blowing them out, all right, we're not going to get the 2 seed. We're going to get the 3
Miami.
seed. Yeah, I mean, if they see New England's up by 20 some points, third quarter, do the Chiefs pull out their guys?
but if okay.
I know. It's
Yes,
hard to.
but it still matters who they play in the first round.
But I don't know. Can they drop to the 4s? Yeah, they can swap with the 4. So I mean, do they want to stay? I guess it's just who do they want to play?
You know that because the final seed is going to be Pittsburgh, Tennessee, or Oakland. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
Which is we went over the
Yeah, we went
scenario
over
of
the
Oakland.
scenarios, and it's crazy.
It's like if Tennessee loses, Pittsburgh loses, which is possible.
Yeah.
And
Oakland wins.
Indianapolis has to win
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, Oakland needs Indy to win for them to get in.
So that
Tennessee's the team to watch, but man, it'd be fun to see Oakland get in and just get pummeled by somebody probably.
hey,
Yeah,
making it's all we need.
It'd be the Chiefs at number 3.
It'd be a successful season if the Raiders make it,
Well, yeah,
even
I
in
mean-
that scenario.
So I did piece together another one with Chalk as your captain, Patrick Mahomes, which he's ridiculously expensive as captain. But you could put Mahomes, Melvin Gordon, still got to have Mike Williams in there. His price at 5,600 is just too cheap to pass up. Eckler, then you go with both kickers with Badgley and Butker. You know, that's you're kind of hoping, Mahomes is spreading it out more than anything with that. So
Yeah. No, I don't mind that at all. Do we think Phillip Rivers is done? Is this his last game playing for the Chargers?
I think it is.
this may not be his last game playing for the Chargers, but it's his last game without a quarterback that is grooming behind him.
Yeah, that's a definite.
Yeah,
I
the
think.
Chargers are definitely going to address the situation.
They have to.
They have to.
He's not. I mean, he's just fell off. This has been a cliff he fell off this year.
They might be in for a bit of a rebuild. I mean, if Melvin Gordon walks,
Which, Eckler obviously has shown he can step right in.
right, and I think Eckler's a restricted free agent,
Yeah.
so I think they can hold on to him.
Yeah,
pretty easily.
they'll hold on to him. Which even when they got Justin Jackson. So I mean, if Gordon walks, I think they still have a capable one too.
I agree.
And then, but yeah, the Rivers situation is interesting, whether they bring him back or not.
So moving on down to do you have anyone else you talk about that you like, captain?
No, I think you covered. I honestly like Eckler at captain. I think he could fit in if it gets into a higher scoring game. I think he could be involved in the passing game a lot.
His price isn't horrible.
No,
but
and
I
he's
think
more than Gordon. So I mean, I get why you went Gordon because Gordon makes sense too.
Yeah, I don't think I'm 99% sure if you put Eckler in there, like you can't get Kelce and Gordon.
Right.
So that was my thought process on
Gotcha.
that. Going down to North Carolina, going down to Carolina and New Orleans. I had NOCAR. New Orleans needs to win.
Yeah.
They've got to win this game.
If they want to buy, they got to win.
Yeah, and even if they win, they're not guaranteed to buy.
Yeah. I
So
had that
Green
pulled
Bay
up,
and
yeah.
San Fran could both win, and then they've got the bye. So New Orleans, obviously, you want to put in Christian McCaffrey. I mean, you pointed out earlier he's got an opportunity to win.
I don't know the
break
exact
record.
number, but it's 200 and some yards from scrimmage to break the all-time record for a season by Chris Johnson. So
And why not, right? Why not
Yeah.
try for it? So
why not? He needs 67 yards to get 1,000 yards receiving for the year.
And he's within how many yards of Nick Chubb?
He's 92 yards away from the rushing lead. So behind Chubb. So I mean, I think they're going to give the guy all he can handle.
Couple quick comments. Bauer says, how many touchdowns is Danny Dimes dropping on the Eagles this week?
Like 2. Both to Darius Slayton.
I think
I'll go
it's
3.
I'm going to go at least 3.
3.
I think the Eagles still pull out the win and win the division. That's a high-scoring game, I think.
And a couple good comments. Bauer says, Andy Dalton to the Chargers, question mark. And Dan Rozier says, not unless he gets a sunscreen endorsement. leave it to Dan.
Beach Baby or whatever it is.
Yeah. The one with the
The diaper getting pulled down.
Exactly.
I don't know what that one is. I'm a ginger. I should know more about sunscreen.
You should. 100%.
So anyhow, I've got everyone's going to want Christian McCaffrey as their captain because of what he does. But if you have him at your captain, you're spending $19,200 of your budget right there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going – I don't know. It's a toss-up between him and Thomas, man. I think –
What about Kamara?
I don't know.
So if you
I'm probably going one of the top 2.
if you have Christian McCaffrey, you can get Michael Thomas and
I
Kamara,
do not.
but you fall off of a cliff and you just have hopes and prayers after that.
Yeah.
So you can put Hill, Ian Thomas, and Will Lutz. But that's all you get. Your last 3 guys, Lutz could be very productive. Ian Thomas, you're just praying he gets in the end zone. And then Taysom Hill, if they're up, you talked about it pre-show. I don't think we were on the live stream yet. But if they're up, 3 scores in the fourth quarter, Taysom Hill could be the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And if he is, he's going to do something.
Oh, yeah, whether it's running or what. I mean, whatever it is, he's gonna put up some points, I think.
Right.
So I was a lot of one factor you'll see for kind of going forward in this is I like Curtis Samuel. DJ Moore's out.
Yeah.
All right, so if you put in Kamara as your captain, you could put Kamara, Curtis Samuel, the Saints defense, because I think that their defense is going to be productive this week. Christian McCaffrey, Lutz, and Taysom Hill. I have a big Carolina one, but it's not good. It's kind of scary to put in there.
Well, let's hear it.
CMC, Greer, Samuel, Olsen. Once again, Taysom, or I guess you could do Josh Hill here as well. And then Cook or Murray, one of the two, Jared Cook or Latavius Murray. And my thought on that is if they get to the point to where Carolina's just beating them, then it's like, we're just going to pour starters.
I don't think Carolina's looked good enough to
I don't think they have
hang
either.
any up on them.
I don't think they have either. And then I do have another one with Kamara. I'm going to play probably 5 lineups in this game, like $3 lineups.
Is it possible you might need to consider AB in that lineup?
Well,
I know he won't be available. It was just a joke, fellas.
He's a cancer. He won't get signed.
Just a joke.
But
if the commissioner comes out and said he's eligible to play this week, he'll get signed.
So if you go Alvin Kamara and all right, Michael Thomas, he's already got his. He's got the records, right? There's not much more he can do on the season as far as, setting records, earning additional incentives. He's the best receiver in the league. So if you kind of have the thought process, maybe they're going to try to protect him a little bit this game. I got Kamara, Cook, Breeze, Curtis Samuel, Chris Hogan. Okay.
I like the Chris Hogan play.
And then Lutz. Hogan's next to nothing.
Yeah.
He's dirt cheap. And then I always throw one in there with Taysom Hill because he's cheap and sometimes he'll get 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's back to what you said. If they're up big, maybe he's the quarterback.
Yeah.
If you go Hill, Christian McCaffrey, Curtis Samuel, Kamara, Lutz, Breeze, interesting play. Going to be probably low owned, like a low stack. Even whenever Hill has a great week the previous week, he's like 2% as captain the next week. He's never the captain for most people.
Yeah.
So
every time you guys talk about this, I just keep thinking captain, my captain, oh captain, or oh captain, my captain. That's it.
That's what you think about?
That's what I think about.
Okay.
Oh captain, my captain.
So you got any more you'd like to add to that? I know I hit several.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Washington, Dallas. So I like the remaining Washington receivers. Steven Sims Jr., Kelvin Harmon.
Steven Sims Jr. has been playing out of his mind.
He has, and McLaurin's
what
out
he
this
is.
week. So McLaurin's out, so
But so Dwayne Haskins.
yeah, well, Keenum isn't afraid to go out there and sling it. So,
Keenum's playing to get paid somewhere.
and they're wanting to beat Dallas because they don't want Dallas to go to the playoffs.
Exactly. So
Bada bing, bada boom.
I put one in with Harmon as my captain. Just the price, right? 2,100.
Still not buying it.
But listen to me. For 2,100, you could put Steven Sims in there, Zeke, Dak, and Michael Gallup, and then you don't have much left. So I went with Chris Thompson at 4,200. You can fit.
I don't mind Chris Thompson at all.
I think
this
you
week.
can fit either kicker in there as well. So then I'm, obviously Washington has their faults. So if you're thinking that Zeke's going to do what Zeke does against bad teams, I went with Zeke, Gallup, Steven Sims Jr., Dak, Kelvin Harmon again, and then if they're up, Tony Pollard. He's also very cheap.
Yeah, I like Zeke a lot this week. I think he rolls. I think this could be his best game of the year this week.
I tried to piece together one that had Gallup as captain, but it seemed like my last guy was a $300 guy, and I'm just not. I have no confidence in that. So
Yeah, I mean, I really think Zeke could go for 200 yards this week.
you're probably right.
I mean, they're gonna.
As could Samaje Perine.
He could.
Very well could. Isn't it going to be sick if Samaje Perine would have been the captain to have, but he's not eligible in DraftKings.
Bauer and Dan, we would love to answer your questions, but you're just filling the chat, just like Dan Rozier fills the ladies.
Throw in another chat. Throw in another question.
There are none. They're just talking.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I would want to go to Philly sometime, Dan. Dan, let's get an Uber and drive to Ohio. I can't answer any of these questions. I don't believe a damn thing they're saying. I can't answer any of it.
You guys are horrible, taking up all of our precious bandwidth. Do you have anyone else you'd like to talk about on that?
I'm scrolling through here, trying to find a cheaper captain I might like.
That's what I'm doing on these messages. Scroll and scroll and scroll. Keep scrolling, 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 scrolling.
I feel like you.
I mean, you could go Dallas defense.
Yeah.
You could.
Is Van Der Esch in or out this week? Do you know?
I don't know.
No matter what, you
I'd
probably
say
just
he's
need to
out.
sit him.
Yeah. I mean,
Disappointing second season.
you're probably right on that. Let's see. I'm going to try to cram one together real quick.
That's what she said.
It is. It is what she said. Yeah, this is what I kept running into whenever I
I'd
tried
say,
to put
son,
in.
if you ain't got nothing in the show.
Sorry, I've got several other. We got more games to go through.
Listen, we've got a new plan. We got a plan for the evening.
Okay. All right.
Do y'all
We got 2 games left.
All right.
Tennessee, Houston.
proceed?
Tennessee, Houston. Derrick Henry. They've got everything to play for.
That's another guy I could see getting 200 yards this week.
Absolutely.
Derrick Henry is my captain. A.J. Brown, because he's been playing stellar.
My captain, oh my captain.
Nuke. Janu. Janu's been playing well.
Janu.
Kiki Kuti
Kiki with Will
with
Fuller
Will
out.
Fuller out.
Yep.
Is Kiki going to freaking play this time, or is he going to be like, oh, he's going to play last minute, he's out?
He had 6 or 8 targets last
He
week.
freaking played last
It
week.
was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? Okay.
Okay.
And then
Which was when Will Fuller was out.
Fairbairn. Kamai Fairbairn. Fairbairn, whatever his name is.
To be fair, Byron.
Fairbairn.
And I did run one back with Kiki as my captain just to see what I could get in there. And you can piece together a decent lineup. A.J. Nuke, Deshaun, Derrick Henry, and then Deion Lewis. And the factor on that is I think that Houston's going to be balling in this game. I think they're going to be ahead, and obviously Tennessee's going to try to come back. And
My one thing is with Houston, they really don't have anything to play for, really. 'Cause they've already won the division. They're 4 seed.
except for to keep their division rival out of the playoffs.
I get that, but is it worth more to rest some guys a little bit? I mean, I'm not saying they're going to sit the whole game, but are they only going to play the first half?
That's a big reason why I like that Henry.
Or does
Henry's captain.
Tennessee get up 2 touchdowns earlier and be like, all right, we're just going to pull out Watson. We're going to pull out Nuke.
Okay, but
Maybe.
that play
Maybe.
still works for me. Like you're
No,
not going
I'm
to pull
just
your
saying,
kicker.
like with
QT's still going to play.
yeah, no, of course. But I'm
He'll
talking about
probably
with, like
move to
with
the number 1 receiver spot.
right. I'm talking about with like Watson and Hopkins. I mean, they're kind of iffy just because they're obviously high priced. They're iffy.
I will tell you also with that Kiki stack, like you got 1,200 left, so you can move some players around to get more high price guys if you want to, if you like Tannehill or whatever. So
Now, I want to throw this in here because I'm going to answer first because Dan addressed it to me. Suckers. Dan says, Bark, where does Dak play next year? My answer, very unconventional, very crazy.
Dallas.
Dallas.
New England.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it at all.
New England Patriots.
I don't think he's a good enough decision maker with the ball for Bill Belichick.
I just, for some reason, I just don't know if. I mean, Dallas probably will pay him. I think it's a mistake. Even though Dak's played really fairly well. I get that. But he's going to demand high dollar. And I just don't know if they're going to pay it. Like firing Jason Garrett, which is probably going to happen. I
don't know. Is it?
I think it will.
I really don't know.
I mean,
I think some of the player testimonies
didn't
coming
Jerry
out.
Jones fire Barry Switzer like a season after winning a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Like, but he keeps Jason Garrett. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, this guy is, I mean, this team's wasting so much talent.
Yep.
So much talent. Yeah, I think he should have been gone a couple years ago or whenever. I mean,
I agree. I agree 100%.
I just like going out on a limb.
No, I mean,
Patriots are going to be looking for a guy, and there's
I guess I can't
there's
get-
really no reason for Dak to just sign right now. Like
I guess I
he
just
needs
can't
to
get
see what his
behind that
market
because
will
I
be.
just don't see Brady going anywhere.
I think Dak needs to see what his market will be.
Probably should. Probably should. Last game, as far as the heads-up matchups, San Fran.
Game of the week.
And the game with the most implications.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is it. I mean, it's got everything that you're needing, like playoff implications, first round bye implications. Actually, no, throughout the whole playoff bye
Yeah.
implications. Like it all comes down to San Fran, Seattle. So I've only got one lineup, and it's probably a terrible one, but I like Robbie Gould because I think this is going to be a little bit of a defensive battle. You know, there's some weird things going on with Seattle. Like their offense, they signed Marshawn Lynch.
He's playing this week, too.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I know.
I love it.
I love it. Makes it the game of the week right there.
I know it.
And
but-
his beautiful interview already.
all
his
12
beau-
seconds.
Yeah. Good times.
But
What do you say? Happy Christmas, Merry New Year?
Yeah, something like that.
that.
Yeah, he's nuts. I love him.
But I've got Gould as my captain. Price, biggest reason. And Travis Homer, because I think he's actually going to be the one who gets the most run in Seattle this week. Kittle, Russ, Jimmy G, and then Jacob Hollister.
Homer's a solid play too.
I would have went Homer possibly as my captain, but I mean every remotely decent guy is through the roof, and you can't really, if you've got one of them as your captain, you can't have two other good guys on your team.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if they hadn't went out and signed Lynch and Turbin, then Homer would have been for sure the captain for me. But you don't know how much they're going to play those guys. I mean, I'd be surprised if Lynch plays a whole lot.
Agreed.
Maybe some goal line situations. Maybe they actually use him from the one.
Maybe he looks pretty good on a few carries, and they're like, let's ride him through the playoffs
Ride
and
him.
see if he can pull another
No,
beast mode.
now playoffs start next week. Yeah, I think they're going to feed him.
Yeah.
But just this week to get him in. I mean, I know it's still a big game.
He'll be fired up too.
Oh yeah.
So,
Got a question for Brian when you're ready.
no, go ahead.
Oh.
Bauer asks Mr. Hux, would you play RG3 in DraftKings as a captain? Oh, my captain.
Yes,
Absolutely.
he's not available. That game's not available.
I don't think that game's available in Showdown, but I'd play him in a main slate lineup. Yes.
There you go, Bauer. It's not available, so it's irrelevant, but he would.
Yeah, I mean on your main slate lineup, but yeah, the Baltimore game's not on the Showdown slates.
Did I just say it's not irrelevant? I think I did.
Yeah.
It's not relevant.
It's not relevant. Yeah, you canceled each other out there.
Bada bing.
So I've got. I know you've got a few lineups. So do you want to talk about those real quick? Because I've got to piece together a couple things here.
That's what I'm working on, buddy. Piece them together.
Piece them together, son. Let's
But
get
no,
let's wrap it up.
I'm with you on the going cheaper route with the kickers. So I mean, either kicker, you can either. I think either defense is even. I mean, it just all depends on how you think the game's going to play out. If you think it's going to be a 20-17 slobber knocker, the kickers are definitely there. But I mean, it could very well turn into a 38-34 shootout.
Easily.
Russell Wilson throw 4 touchdowns on 180 yards passing.
Yep. Jimmy G.
Entirely
Debo,
same way.
Kittle,
Absolutely.
capable.
But yeah, you just never know with this game. But I like Manny Sanders on the San Francisco side and Kittle.
For me, I looked at it and I'm like, if I got to pick one, like, I'm going to go Kittle because you can't afford both of them.
Yeah,
That was my whole thought process on
I think
that.
Kittle's been playing really well.
he has.
So
Improving the tight M1 chops.
So, got a few different lineups. If you go with RG3 as your quarterback, you can get pretty damn creative the rest of the way through this.
Thought that game wasn't available.
No,
On the main slate. On the
Okay,
actual
okay.
DraftKings slate.
Okay.
To the showdown.
so I've got multiple lineups with RG3. So I've got one with you get RG3, Kamara, Chubb, Darius Slayton with Danny Dimes back. You know he loves him some Darius Slayton. Curtis Samuel with DJ Moore out. I always love Michael Gallup. He's typically cheap. Goddard with Ertz out. You could put Melvin Gordon in there and get the Falcons defense, which is playing against Tampa Bay. Plenty of interceptions to be had. Plenty of strip sacks to be had there. So that's one. I've actually got 3 separate lineups with with that same split or same quarterback. So RG3, Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Kiki Kuti, Gallup, Samuel, Goddard, Slayton, Falcons. Or if you want to go with Sanders instead of CMC, you can afford to put in Chubb and the Patriots defense playing against Miami.
Have we seen the death of play draft? Yes.
Yeah.
And possibly FanDuel.
Nah, FanDuel's around.
Nah, not for long.
I have a feeling there's going to be a buyout on that.
Yep.
Well, that draft app is merging with FanDuel, so
Gotcha. And then here's probably my favorite lineup, getting away from RG3. Josh Allen, Alvin Kamara, Miles Sanders, and then going back with those wide receivers, QT, Gallup, Samuel, Goddard. You can actually squeeze in Nick Chubb in there. So you've got Kamara, Sanders, and Chubb.
Nothing like squeezing in a Chubb.
And then you've got, if you're doing that, you've got Atlanta's defense again. I love Atlanta's defense this week. I think they're ridiculously cheap for what they're playing against, I guess.
Yes, Dan, I said FanDuel.
yeah, that sounds good. I'm gonna try to squeeze in a lineup, and it's gonna leave me very cheap at wide receiver. But I'm gonna try to make a lineup with Zeke, McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry, and just go real cheap at wide receiver. Which there's some guys that are playable. Like, I mean, I know he hasn't really produced given the role, but I mean, you know, you can play guys like Jay Jaw and Albert Wilson or Sims. You know, you can plug in them guys that are going to be a little bit more of a role this week to get those guys. I just think them running backs go off this week.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you, but
I mean,
lots of options.
You're going to go real cheap. Like I got Irv Smith at 2,800 at tight end because Rudolph might not play much at all if he's going to. The Vikings already came out and said that they're sitting guys. So
Now, there's a really interesting play for, dirt cheap. I mean, I don't think he's out, but he was 0 for 5 last week. Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk's only $4,700 this week.
yeah, good price.
So, him, Danny Amendola's 45. That's also, a very cheap play for the number of targets that he's going to get. I know last week it was 3, but prior to that it was 13, 8, and 8. So some options there. But
Week 17 is definitely a crapshoot. I mean,
Yes.
you got teams that are sitting. You got teams that could sit after half or quarter. And there's only a couple of teams that actually have come out and said they're going to sit some players. Other teams may just choose to once the game gets going.
yeah,
So.
long story short, you need to take that in consideration when you're building your lineups. You've got some of these guys who are definitely, depending on how the game flow goes, win or lose. Like if it's bad, it starts to get bad either way, they're going to start sitting players. So
Yeah.
be careful.
Speaking of storylines, we're entering the off season after this week, so we've decided to do something a little fun. If you enjoy watching the Back Row Fantasy Show and you just can't get enough of myself, Arms, Hux, and not necessarily football, if you can't get enough of us, you're in luck. We're quite ridiculously going to start a reaction channel on the tube of you, the YouTube. We're going to do some reactions because we're gonna take 15 minutes to ourselves after the show and do something a little fun. So look for that on YouTube. You can follow or subscribe or whatever the hell they call it on YouTube because we're newbies. Not really. I do the microphone channel, but
Me and Hooks are newbies.
Newbies.
Yeah, I'm a noob.
Breaking the old cherry on these two. So you can go look up Back Row Reacts, and the video will be there tomorrow, probably early morning. And if you can't get enough of us, there you go. And Gut Punch News says, can always fit in a chub. Is that what she said? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Thanks for listening, folks. Any last words from you two?
Nope. Thanks for listening. Good night.
Peace out.
This concludes another episode of the Back Row Fantasy Show. Thanks for listening, and be sure to give us a review.
Headphones messing up, Arms?
I mean, you could have waited till after.
Left side was messing up. It's good now.
Oh, all right. If you guys want to talk during the stream, I'm going to set up the Cami Cam.
Arms can talk.
I mean,
I'm
what
gonna go outside.
the heck do
You want me
guys
to
wanna
stop the stream then?
Well, I'm coming right back in.
What?
I don't care. I'll sit here and literally talk to myself. I mean, I don't have any of the questions from the from Twitter or anything to go off of. So.
I mean, make your own questions on the Twitter. Answer questions that haven't even been asked.
I don't have any questions that haven't been asked.
Charge the battery. Suck my wiener.
So, this is going to get incredibly boring for people really quick.
No, I'll still talk in the background.
Gotcha.
Thanks for joining the live stream tonight.
You know, something that frustrates me this week
Yeah.
is the amount of targets that Philip Dorsett, and actually not even just targets, literally just the amount of snaps that guy's getting.
Started heavy.
But he would be the play this week against Miami. Like, he is what that kills him. That fast, the speed across the middle. Amendola's quick, not fast. Like, Dorsett, he's just too risky. It's scary. Hey, David Sills is a giant now. Interesting.
Oh, the West Virginia
Yeah.
product.
Just a terrible, terrible spot to be if you're a remotely decent receiver. Too much talent above him. Poor kid's never going to get a shot, and I think he'd be good. David Sills.
You right there?
Oh, my back went out earlier. It's fucking killing me.
We were doing the funeral, and we were carrying out the casket, and it's like obviously it's been raining up here, and me and my brother were like, oh God, we're gonna fall. Like, we just were certain. We're like, God, just don't slip, just don't slip, just don't slip, just don't slip. Everything turned out well, but
Yeah, because they're freaking heavy. That's for sure.
yeah, this is a good sermon. I had to leave early yesterday though. It's like I'm like, I can't be here anymore, guys. I felt bad, but
Dude, that stuff's hard.
Yeah.
yeah, you can only subject yourself to it for so long. So
Tough stuff.
man,
What's even what else is hard is like just simply getting to that age where the stuff just starts happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's only 42.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't very old.
So
Piece of shit,
is
Collie
that too
Stein.
extremely bright or
it's
no?
pretty bright. Pretty bright.
Yeah, that's pretty bright.
Should I stop this stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't care.
I mean, I don't care.